It's all on you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Cedric. Cool. I am going to just plug in my other microphone. So the sound may change, may become a bit louder. Let's see. Here we are. So yeah, I may suddenly become a bit louder, so do feel free to turn down your microphones, the volume on your computers, or however you're watching this, if I'm suddenly booming through the airwaves. And do pop in the chat at any point. I won't be able to hear you now until the end, but do pop in the chat if there's anything that I or Cedric need to know throughout this session. Make yourselves as comfortable as possible. It kind of goes without saying when we do yin, but I think it's always worth reminding. For me, tea is an integral part of practicing yin yoga. So if you have a mug of tea with you, or if you've just remembered and want to go and make one, then go for it. So my name is Kat. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, or whatever time it is where you are. And we are going to be doing yin yoga for happiness today. So without further ado, there's very little you need, minimal equipment for this session as well. And I'll prompt you if there is anything that could be useful. I'll just get my timer set up. And when you're ready, just coming to a comfortable lying down pose. So we're going to start off lying down on the mat. For anyone who is just joining, I'll pop the playlist in if they would like it either now or just to use in the future. And the invitation is to come to a lying down pose that feels right for you. So you may have your legs out straight and just allow your feet to fall out to the sides. You might have the soles of your feet resting on the mat and your knees falling in towards each other. Perhaps the soles of your feet together and your knees coming out wide in reclined butterfly. But the invitation for this class, for your yin yoga for happiness, is to try and let go of getting swept away with the train of thoughts that so often kind of grabs us and pulls us away from being in the moment. The invitation and the urge is to follow your instincts. Trust in your instincts, trust in you. If at any point in the session I suggest a pose that doesn't work for you, that doesn't feel right, or that causes you to experience some kind of pain, then feel free to tweak, to adapt it, or to just completely come out of it and choose something that's preferable for your body. And when you're ready, just placing, if it feels comfortable to do so, one hand on your heart space. Your right or your left hand, no right or wrong. Imagine that for the next hour or so, we live in a world where there is no such thing as right or wrong. There's no such thing as mistakes, as perfect or imperfect. And as you notice the sensation of your heart beating, taking a deep breath in and exhaling out through the mouth. Just reminding yourself that this is the same heart that has been beating since the day you were born. It's the same heart that's been on all sorts of journeys, adventures, highs and lows with you. And as you continue to just take deep, nourishing breaths, I want you to now try and, without force, just allow your out breath to be a little longer than your in breath. One useful way of making this as simple as possible is to imagine that you're breathing out through a straw. Imagine that you have a straw in your mouth and you're pursing your lips and breathing out really slowly. And this is a really useful technique, a simple breathing technique that can just help to very quickly allow the heart to become a bit slower, a bit more steady, particularly if you're feeling anxious or worried about anything. And it can help to prompt the brain to remind you that you've got this, that everything's going to be okay. There's a brilliant story that the Dalai Lama tells. And he says, imagine that you come home after a long day and as you walk up to the steps of your house or up to your front door, you notice that there is a big pile of manure, of horse poo on your doorstep. And you have two options in this situation. You can either clench your fist in rage and rail in anger. Who did this to me? How dare they? I'm so angry. I can't let this happen. This isn't okay. Perhaps seek revenge or just sit there not doing anything but seething that someone's done this to you and that this has happened. Or you can take a deep breath and you can decide that you're going to create something useful out of this negative situation. And you can take this manure and you can put it on a flower bed and use it to nourish flowers, plants, vegetables, and grow something beautiful. So when it comes to finding happiness, just as each inhalation follows each exhalation, just as a wave rises and crashes, only to rise again. Just as after every sunset follows a sunrise. Happiness isn't about finding a way that you can constantly feel good or positive or upbeat or okay. But happiness is about finding ways to generate a sense of tranquility, of peace, of inner calm. Within all of the highs and lows, the ups and downs, the happiness and sadness that life will always bring your way. So before we come into our first pose, and as you perhaps allow your breathing to just find its own natural rhythm now, trusting that your body will do exactly as it needs to do, following your instincts as we flow through the session. I wanted to start with a quote about happiness, which reads, "Happiness is like a butterfly. The more you chase it, the more it will elude you. But if you turn your attention to other things, it will come and sit softly on your shoulder." So now, and as we flow through our session, just asking yourself, what small things would you notice about yourself if you were allowing yourself to go through life rather than chasing down happiness, just turning your attention to whatever came your way and letting life happen? Okay, so when you're ready, just wriggling your fingers and toes. Just perhaps taking some movement, maybe a stretch if that feels good, following your instincts. And in your own time and in your own way, just easing onto your side. And we're going to come into our first pose, which is turtle pose. So very little to do by way of movement. Turtle pose is also known in lots of yogic traditions as child's pose, but bringing our arms down by our sides, we're going to just find our way into this gentle curled up ball. Using any props to either cover you with a warm blanket or place a cushion under your forehead if that feels comfortable. Remember, this is your session, this is your class, and this is your happiness. So following your instincts, doing what's right for you. And in this first pose, exploring one of the first steps, the key towards finding ways of generating more inner calm, which is the number one ingredient in the recipe for happiness. And a really useful technique for doing this is acceptance. So as you're just breathing here, sinking down, letting go of any tension, I want you to just notice all the sensations that you're experiencing in your body right now. Perhaps, first of all, drawing your attention to the physical sensations that you're aware of. And I want you to specifically notice if there is one particular part of your body that's calling you. Perhaps the part of your body that's feeling most relaxed, or perhaps more likely a part of your body that's perhaps feeling the most tense. Maybe there's a bit of tightness, a bit of tension, perhaps a gentle bit of pinching in one part of your body. And rather than shutting that out, rather than ignoring it and hoping that it goes away, in just gently practicing acceptance, if possible, I want you to take your hand, and as you breathe into that part of your body, into that sensation, if you're able to do so, just taking your hand and tracing gently over that part of your body. And like a scientist really investigating something under a microscope, with childlike playfulness and curiosity, just noticing how it feels. How big is the area where you're experiencing this sensation? Does it feel hot or cool? If it was a color, what color would this sensation be? Is it on one side of the body, or does it cover both sides? And for the next 30 seconds or so, perhaps allowing your hand to rest back down, but still with full acceptance, whatever that means for you, just allowing yourself to really explore and breathe into any sensations or experiences in your body that you might normally ignore or pull away from. All the while breathing slowly and steadily. And reminding yourself that life and happiness is as much about the highs as it is the lows and everything in between. Okay. And when you're ready, my friends, we're going to find our way into neutral. This may be on your front, having just been in turtle pose, or you may wish to slowly and steadily just find your way onto your back again, however that looks, however you want to hold yourself in this moment. Coming back to the question, what would you notice? What small differences would you notice if throughout this session and as you go into the rest of your day and your week, rather than chasing happiness or trying to feel a certain way, you were flowing through life turning your attention to other things, grounding yourself firmly in the moment. Okay. So when you're ready, this time finding your way really slowly, moving in a way that is congruent, that's in line with however you're feeling or however you wish to feel right now. We're going to ease our way up into a seated position. And choosing which side we're going to start with, we're going to find our way into a pose called Twisted Deer. Now, some of you may be familiar with this, or if you've been to other classes, you may have done it already this weekend. If not, or if you just want a quick recap, for Twisted Deer, you'll want, or you may well want some kind of prop. Don't worry if you haven't got a bolster, a rolled up blanket, a couple of hoodies squished together, a pillow, a cushion is absolutely fine. And if you want to mirror me, then placing your left leg in front, in kind of with your knee at a 90-degree angle and your shin in front of you, parallel with the long edge of the mat. And then you're going to make exactly the same shape with your other leg, bringing it out to the side, creating a 90-ish degree angle with your knee. I'm terrible at maths, so it's kind of around that. And you're going to allow the knee of that leg to just rest softly in the sole of your foot that's out in front. You may want to place something under your outer hip if that's coming up. And on the side of the leg that's in front of you, you're going to just keeping the integrity in your spine, in your posture, sitting proud, in embracing exactly who you are. You're going to twist a face over the hip of the leg that's in front of you and bringing your prop, your cushion, your bolster, your pillow, so that it's drawing out from the edge of that hip. You're going to slowly just allow yourself to sink down onto that side. And remembering that we are using this class as an experiment to imagine that we live in a world where there are no rights or wrongs, there are no mistakes, there's no perfect or imperfect. Once you find your way into this side of Twisted Deer, allow your legs to just sort of fall however they fall. Allow yourself to turn your head in whichever direction feels most easeful and nourishing for you right now. And using your breath to guide you, allowing yourself to sink down into the spot. With each in-breath, breathing in calm and relaxation. And with each out-breath, letting go a little more. And whilst you're resting here in this first side of Twisted Deer, Another quote that I wanted to bring in, which is useful as we go on our quest through life, our quest for happiness, is as follows. The real secret of life is to be completely engaged with what you are doing in the here and now. And instead of calling it work, realize it's play. So as you're resting here in Twisted Deer, my invitation is to just allow yourself to bring to mind a memory of a time in your life, maybe recently, maybe a long time ago, whatever bubbles up to the surface first, but a memory of a time when you felt the most playful, the most at peace, and the most relaxed you can remember yourself feeling. Just allow the memory to slowly drift its way into the front of your mind, knowing that it might be slightly exaggerated, slightly altered from the reality, but just allowing whatever comes to your mind to find its way there. All the while still breathing and grounding yourself into the moment. And for the next few moments, allowing yourself to really dive into this memory as if you're watching it like a movie on a screen, making it as bright, as bold, as vivid as possible. Really heightening all the sensations that this memory brings up for you. This time in your life when you felt the most playful, relaxed, and at peace with who you were. And just notice, what can you see, hear, feel, and maybe even taste and smell around you in this memory. Okay. And keeping hold of anything that was useful or anything that you wish to keep hold of from this experience, just using your breath to bring yourself back into the moment. And in your own time, again, moving in a way that feels right for you. Just allowing yourself to gently push through your palms, finding your way back up to seated, and onto your back for a moment or two in neutral pose. As you do so, and as you're lying here, whenever you make your way there, no rush, in neutral, just reminding yourself that despite what we may sometimes be led to believe, and despite what the media and consumerism can tell us, you actually have everything you need to create happiness already inside you. So starting with your breath and allowing it to keep you rooted in the moment. If at any point your thoughts start hooking you in and taking you off to memories of the past, thoughts of yesterday, or if at any point we get swept up in the future, what next? Worries, fears, anxieties. Just as if they're leaves floating on a stream. At any point that a thought enters your head, practicing again our acceptance skills, just noticing it, acknowledging it. And then allowing it to drift on by as you come back to the moment. And when you're ready, we're going to flow into the second side of Twisted Deer. So no rush. And if at any point you think, actually, do you know what? I'm going to stay in Shavasana. I'm going to stay in neutral, then you are always welcome to do that. But if you would like to come into the second side, and if you're mirroring me, placing your right leg in front this time, knee at a rough 90-degree angle, shin in front of you, and your other leg in the same angle, just resting in the nook of the sole of your foot as you twist around to the side. Cushion, bolster, rolled up blanket, whatever you have, coming out from the outer edge of the hip of the leg that's in front. And like a cat, just boring your way down onto the ground or onto your prop. With each in-breath, breathing in relaxation. And with each out-breath, letting go a little more. And the final technique is you're resting here in the second side of Twisted Deer. The final technique that I wanted to bring into our session on happiness that has been in many research studies proven to help people enhance their well-being is this idea of identifying and working with our strengths, our signature strengths. The qualities that we were born with that make us unique, that make us who we are and allow us to thrive in the moment. But when we are facing adversity, when we're facing challenges or just the mundane day to day, getting swept up in our work and our life, they can be very hard to remember or to bring to mind. And notoriously, humans are terrible at being able to identify what their strengths are or what they're good at. So as you're just allowing yourself to sink down in this pose, I want you to imagine or think of someone, bring to mind someone who you're really close to, someone who knows you well and who really cares for you. It may be someone who you see on a regular basis. It may be someone who you don't see so often, but who knows you well and has known you throughout your life. It may be someone who is alive, or it may be someone who has passed away, but you were very close to when they were alive. And imagine that I am asking that person now what your top 3 strengths are. What are the qualities that make you unique and special and an incredible individual in this world? And if I ask this person who knows you well and who cares for you what your top 3 strengths are, what would they tell me? And now, if you have those, or even 1 or 2 of them, my question to you is, do you agree? Do you want to stick or twist? Do you think this is a correct summary of your top 3 strengths, or might you choose something different, something that's more relevant to you now? And whatever your top strengths are, and this can be anything, there's a list of 24 which you can look up, but feel free to choose your own. So things like kindness, humor, perseverance, determination, love of learning, zest for life. Whatever your top 3 strengths are, in our final few moments in this side of Twisted Deer, I want you to think, what would you notice about yourself, and what might other people notice about you? What might you be saying yes to? And what things might you not be prioritizing? What might you be saying no to? What activities would you be turning your attention to, and what people would you be surrounding yourself with if you were using and harnessing your top strengths as often as possible in everyday life? The man who is born with a talent which he is meant to use finds his greatest happiness using it. So with this in mind, moving slowly like water, just easing your way back up to seated, taking your time, no rush. And we're going to find our way into our final resting pose, which, as promised for those of you who were at my talk yesterday, and one I think is brilliantly in line with happiness and embracing exactly who we are, we're going to come into starfish to finish off with. So bringing your arms and legs out wide as you lie down on the mat. You may want to grab a blanket just to cover yourself up, to make yourself as snugly as possible. And don't feel that you've got to do this in a rigid starfish-like way, but just allow some softness, some gentleness, some kindness in your limbs. As you continue to take these slow, steady breaths, and perhaps before we do our final body scan, just thinking of a situation, an event, an experience that you may have coming up that could prove particularly challenging for you. It may be a one-off event, something that you're feeling a bit nervous about, or it could be an ongoing situation that's causing a lot of unhappiness and discomfort for you. And once again, just asking yourself, with everything we've learned as we've gone through this session, how could you use your top strengths, your breath, and this idea of acceptance to help you engage with that situation in a way that's most right for and congruent with you? Not the you that you think you should be, or the you that the world tells you you should be, but the version of you that you want to be. And that perhaps right now, in this moment in time, the you that you are choosing to be. And bringing up once more those sensations that arose when we thought of that memory, that time in your life when you felt the most playful, relaxed, and at peace version of yourself. Really, once more, like a golden beam of light shining down through the crown of your head, perhaps bringing a soft smile to your lips, allowing those sensations, that memory, and all of the feelings and emotions that are linked with it, allowing them to just start to flow through you. And like a golden glowing light of calm of peace and of playfulness, noticing these sensations growing and glowing in your jaw, your mouth, your ears, nose, and cheeks. Sensation of calm, peace, and playfulness, like a glowing golden light, now shining into your eyelids, your forehead, and the central point between your two eyebrows. Noticing this sensation of calm, of peace, and of playfulness glowing in your scalp, all down the back of your head, your neck, and your throat. Now noticing its golden radiating glow, moving down towards your left shoulder, left arm, and the palm of your left hand, like a glowing beam shining out of your left palm. This feeling of calm, of peace, and of playfulness, radiating through and out of your right shoulder, your right arm, and the palm of your right hand. And now noticing this sensation move to your chest, your stomach, and really glowing into and out of your heart space. All the way down each vertebra of your spine, being imbued with this sense of peace, of calm, and of playfulness. And now this glowing golden light radiating through your left hip, left leg, and the sole of your left foot. And your right hip, right leg, and the sole of your right foot. And now noticing this sensation and this golden glowing light radiating in and around your whole body. Your whole body charged and glowing with this sense of calm, of peace, and of playfulness. Knowing that whatever life throws at you, and whatever comes your way, you have everything you need inside of you already to stay calm, to stay peaceful, and to stay playful in whatever way that manifests with you at that time. So perhaps choosing a word, a phrase, a short sentence that sums up your heart's desire for yourself right now when it comes to flowing through life, allowing yourself to be calm, peaceful, and playful in exactly who you are. And repeating that word, that phrase, that resolve 3 times as you breathe in through the nose and sigh it out through the mouth. And for the final time of asking in today's session, just wriggling your fingers and toes, bringing perhaps a bit of movement back into the body and keeping with you, locking in anything that was useful from this session whilst letting go or allowing to drift to the back of your mind anything that perhaps you don't need or didn't serve you. And slowly and steadily just rolling onto one side, pausing there for a moment. And in your own time, just easing your way up to seated. Maybe even keeping your eyes closed or your gaze softened towards the floor. Placing one or maybe both palms on your heart space. And just reminding ourselves one last time, happiness is like a butterfly. The more you chase it, the more it will elude you. But if you turn your attention to other things, it will come and sit softly on your shoulder. Taking 3 last deep breaths in through the nose and sighing it out through the mouth. Maybe once again, bringing just a gentle smile to your lips and noticing how it feels. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One last deep breath in, letting go of anything you no longer choose to take with you on your journey through life. Flickering your eyes open. And you are all done. Thank you so much for joining me. It's such a treat to work with so many wonderful new Yin friends. Cedric has put up the next session in the chat. And I will put up my details if anyone is interested either in following me on Instagram. It's cat_find_your_happiness. And oh, I've spelt it wrong. Cat, find your happiness. And my website is findyourhappiness.me. So give me a follow and enjoy the rest of your day and your week and your lives, hopefully with a little bit more happiness to go for the